The 2024 election is coming up. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to tell you who I think is going to win. I'm going to tell you what I think about it. And I also want to address a lot of things. Ron Paul being brought into the conversation by Elon Musk. That's really cool. Things like RFK Jr., etc. And also people who are lashing out at each other over voting or not voting. I have a lot to say about that, especially certain people who are making a huge stink out of my decision to vote with my sovereignty and my own thoughts and my own mind and strategy, etc. So I'm going to address all that stuff. I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you're ready for tomorrow's shenanigans, because the one thing I can almost guarantee, maybe not for sure, but I just don't think it's going to go super smooth. And I think a lot of people feel that way. So no need to worry or fear, but we're going to talk about it. Dreamer Podcast is here. Thanks for being here, everybody.
It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles. Yeah.
What's going on, everybody? What's going on Facebook? What's going on YouTube? We got David on Facebook. We got Maggie May, Susan Moon on YouTube. Abnormally Goza, D-Mac, Donna Ramirez, Forrest Barkus. Let's go. Nathan in the house. That's enough for now. Enough shout outs. We've done enough. Appreciate you guys for being here. I'll be here tomorrow as well to talk about the election, but I'm going to get right into it. Let's see what people are saying. Do I think the fix is in? They're going to steal it again. A lot of different opinions. I want to talk about them all. And I want to say this to start off the show because, this is just the truth and how I really feel. A lot of tensions, a lot of emotions, a lot of people who want others to feel the way that they feel. Even in the last 48 hours, I've seen a house with a Kamala sign at the top of the apartment and a Trump sign at the bottom. I was out at a park yesterday watching some psychopath Democrat yell at Kennedy for Trump people. I've seen online people that are voting for Trump screaming at people who aren't voting, acting crazy. And then people who aren't voting who think that they're Iron Man and Martin Luther King or something for not voting, as if that really matters any more than voting does. So the tensions are high, opinions are high, the internet's the internet. So I would just say, whatever you think about tomorrow, the truth will be revealed soon. You'll find out when the time is right, and it's okay to have an opinion. But I'm going to look at some of the betting odds right now, and then I'll tell you what I think is going to happen tomorrow, at least my opinion. But what really matters is tomorrow. Watch it for yourself and think whatever you want. I mean, it's on you. So I just look at electionbettingodds.com. They just have some of the spread. Obviously, this doesn't matter that much, but Trump is leading the polls by about 10 points, 54 to 44%. It's not a drastic lead. He's had bigger, he's had smaller, but that's what it says. It says Republicans are 80% likely to win the Senate. So that seems all but a lock. The Senate, of course, that could change, but the Senate's looking good for Republicans. And it's like a 50-50, 48 to 51% in the House. So there is a chance that the Republicans could sweep. Of course, who knows? I saw that the Democrats were leading in the House for a while, and Republicans have made up a lot of ground in the last couple of weeks. At the end of the day, only the final result seems to matter. And from what I've seen, I've done a little research into exit. I don't know if they're called exit polls. Exit polls, I think, is when tomorrow people vote. But there are voter registration percentages. There's early voting percentages, people who voted early, etc. All signs are pointing towards Trump is doing better this year than last year. That's what I see. That's the results, the numbers. Obviously, a concern of people's is cheating for obvious reasons. I was even thinking last night, not that this is the first time I've ever thought this, but I really thought more in depth of, how you can cheat. We all know ways that you can cheat, but when the votes start coming in, you start getting a clearer picture of who's voting and who's not voting, who's winning, who's losing when you're counting the votes. And also the election officials and people that are close to the election, they have the data of who showed up to vote and who didn't show up to vote. The question that we all have is, how easy is it for certain people to, say you live in a county, right, where there's supposed to be 200,000 voters, and it turns out that only 70,000 people voted. Is it possible, these are the questions that people have. Is it possible for someone to look at that and be like, 130,000 people didn't vote? Let me make 30,000 votes for these people who didn't vote, and now they voted. Who's going to know? Who's going to ever get to see that voter registration? Who's going to see, did they really vote or did you put it in last second? Like, there's no transparency. I live in a state where you don't even have to have your ID to vote. It's crazy. So I'm pretty confident that Trump will win, but not incredibly confident because, of course, there's a lot of mystery and question marks around the election, especially with no voter ID and just mass mail in ballots constantly. It's just, in anybody's opinion, that's not stupid or fake. It's a terrible system. So I think Trump has more support than ever. I think the early polls and the data looks better than ever. I think he should do well, but only time will tell, and it's going to be messy. Pennsylvania is going to take days to, I almost said cheat, but you know what I'm that too. But count. It's just it's sad that this even has to happen in our country. One thing I want to talk about, because I have a lot of things that I do want to address, but one is Trump's campaign this time, and I'll try to put up some comments to see if anybody's saying anything interesting. But Trump's campaign this time versus last time, I see it in a lot of different ways. And I guess I'll just get right into it now because I was going to save it till the end, but I think I'm just going to interweave between what I'm saying and these ideas. Where when I came out in 2020, 2021, 2022, and I was doing COVID reporting, and I had determined that I disagreed with Operation Warp Speed. I disagreed with what Trump was saying. I disagreed with the rhetoric. I disagreed with the lockdowns. I thought Republicans were weak. I have no problem saying what I really think, and I don't care which side gets bothered by it. But what I noticed were not just friends and people that I thought in the space were, on my side, quote, and it's okay to disagree. I'm not saying we have to agree on everything. A lot of people turned against me and were like, Anomaly's a liberal. Doesn't make sense. Anomaly's sold out. He's hurting Trump. And so many people acted like elementary school children. They couldn't understand where I was coming from, where it's like, I think Trump's better than Biden. Democrats are worse on a lot of these topics, but I still don't think it's okay what he's doing. And I need to do real reporting about it. Like, I can't just make excuses for something that's so egregious. And I did that. Now I'm kind of getting it from the other side because I made a video, as a lot of people saw, but to be honest, it wasn't even close to my biggest video. I don't even think it cleared like 100,000 views total on all social media. So maybe it did with Facebook, but it wasn't that impactful. You know what I'm saying? I'm not making videos got 100 million views or whatever. And I'm getting a lot of backlash from people who are not voting. And they're saying, oh, look, Anomaly, who called out Trump, is now sold out because he's voting for the guy that he did reporting against. But to me, and I want to explain this because I think it has to do with tomorrow and also who Trump's going to pick and which direction his cabinet's going to go if he does win. I could separate these ideas where it's like, I don't have to agree with Trump and I don't have to say something that's wrong is right. But also when it comes to an election, I could see both sides of it. I could see people who say, I don't want to vote because voting doesn't matter. In some cases, I agree. It doesn't. The national politics has been, it seems like, swallowed up by, they seem compromised, whether it's the Epstein stuff or something else that's compromising them. They're compromised by lobbying money. Certain billionaires control both sides, or certain, finances flow into Trump and Kamala, where it seems to control a lot of the people that they pick. So I agree. If somebody doesn't vote, I don't care. Like, if you don't want to vote and you're not inspired to vote, I'm never going to shame you like other people do. But also, what I have to say to people, whether they want to hear it or not, is you should respect my decision to vote, because I'm not out here saying that voting is going to change the world and everything. I want to vote. I'm a sovereign citizen. I pay taxes. I get to decide whether I show up on the day or not. If you decide not to show up, that's okay. I don't care. Let me tell you a story, multiple reasons why I'm voting, and I'm going to get into that for Trump. But, I live somewhere where somebody was murdered in an area that doesn't have a really high crime rate. Because obviously I try to stay away from crime. I'm wise. I'm older. I don't want to be in the ghetto or where people are committing a lot of crimes. Nor does anybody, pretty much. But anyway, somebody was killed, right? We did research. Obviously, the news started covering it because it was a rare offense. We found out, of course, they came from a Democrat county with a Democrat prosecutor. And the person that killed somebody in my county, they committed a crime similar, not a murder, but a theft that could have gone wrong a couple months ago or a year ago, very recently. And because there was a Democrat prosecutor, that person got out of jail. If that person would have committed a crime first in our county, our prosecutors are Republican. Our prosecutors would have threw them in jail. That woman would still be alive today. So we could talk about national in a second, but I don't mean to curse, and I apologize for anybody whose kids are watching, but fuck you as a grown man if you think you're going to tell me not to vote because you don't want to vote. I'm not going to shame you but there are real life consequences, and there is a different, especially locally, in which the party's done. I've lived in a Democrat area. I've lived in a Republican area. I've seen what Democrat prosecutors do. I see what Republican prosecutors want to do. As a grown man that's not stupid, that's not fake, that's not compromised, that's not liberal, I want a Republican prosecutor. I think the Republicans are the adults in the room, and I've seen real life consequences of what happens when you have a prosecutor run by radical Democrats that don't prosecute anybody. And then they come into your county and commit a crime, and now it's too late because the person in their county didn't. So, that's one of the reasons I'm voting. And I'm in an area where I like what the local government's doing. I like the roads, I like the prosecutor, I like a lot of the councilmen. I don't know them like face to face or anything, but they're doing I've been around the country. I've seen some disasters in other parts of the world. I vote. Okay, that's what I want to do. Nationally, there's a lot of things I want to say about Donald Trump. I made a whole video about it, but I want to particularly respond to people that are talking shit to me that think that they're so much smarter when I believe it's their ego talking, not their intelligence. They're not brighter than me. They're not telling me anything that I've never thought before, and I have a reason for doing what I'm doing. First of all, look at Elon Musk. This is an easy example because nobody dislikes Ron Paul. Like whether you're libertarian, anarchist, Republican, like conservative, everybody likes Ron Paul. I've never seen, and this is the great thing about Ron Paul being such a good guy. Have you ever seen somebody that like doesn't like Ron Paul? The only people that don't like Ron Paul are operatives, fake conservatives, liberals, the media. But from what I've seen, everybody that I like and respect likes and respects Ron Paul. And that just shows you what happens when you have good character. The people that you need to respect you and like you, they do. And the people that are bad people don't like you. So Ron Paul is awesome. I love the guy. Elon Musk is bringing him into the conversation, right? For the first time in 15 years, he got chased out of the Republican Party by all the neocons and the Zionists and the sneaks and the lobbyists and the pharma guys or whoever you want to blame. Ron Paul was chased out of the party by all the idiots like, the Mitt Romneys of the world and the Paul Ryans. And now we have a new movement. And I'm going to just say this to cover all bases. I'm not asking you to close your eyes and just be like, this is going to be awesome. I know Trump's going to hire some shitty people, and we need to be there to call it out. If you don't believe that you have a say in all of this, then just why even make videos? Not only voting, people that are like, we have no say, we have no power, then why do you make YouTube videos if it's not going to change anything? You're doing it for your ego or for financial situations, which is okay. Everybody likes attention and everybody likes to feed their family with content that they believe is righteous. But at the end of the day, if you truly believe you have no power to do anything, then why even talk? I don't think I have the power to change everything, but I do believe that I can impact people. I do believe that I can make them laugh or make their life better, or tell them a health piece of advice, or shift consciousness slowly in the right direction. So in 5-10 years, we can get somebody even better than these politicians. So, I don't believe I'm powerless. I'm optimistic. I'm grateful. And while I see that Trump is going to hire some snakes, I do believe that we can call it out if we stay together and don't just bicker like idiots over little things that don't matter. Call out the Mike Pompeos, call out the John Boltons, call out the snakes and the sneaks that Trump's going to try to put in, and don't let him off the hook. Because if he hires swampers for Secretary of State and others, his administration is going to end like his last one did. That you don't need to wait 4 years to see what Donald Trump's going to do. As soon as he picks his cabinet, that's what he's going to do. FDA, that's where the food supply is going. HHS, that's where the health department's going. Secretary of State, that's his foreign policy. It's that simple, right? Trump's cool, but look at his cabinet and call out the nonsense. I still believe that. I'm never asking people to let him off the hook. With that being said, I told people a year ago, and I want to let you know that I'm very tough. I'm very critical, especially when people are doing evil things and doing pharmaceutical scams. I'm never going to apologize for that. I'm never going to stop talking about it, and I'm never going to apologize for being right. With that being said, I'm not a hater. I attract a lot of different people because I'm a lot of different things, right? Some people like my music. Some people hate my music. Some people like my news analysis. Some people, they like my politics. They're conservative. They're Christian. Some people on Instagram, I have a lot of women that are into yoga and they're health conscious. They might be Republican, they might not, but they like that I'm healthy and they connect to the message I'm saying. And that's a blessing. I'm so grateful. Whoever you are, I'm glad you're here. And it's nice to be able to connect with different groups. But with that being said, sometimes I connect with groups that they're just bickering all the time. And they see that in me because when I complain about certain things and I tell the truth about certain policies, they think I'm like them and they want me to be like them. But I'm an optimistic person. I'm a happy person. And I'm somebody that does believe that, if somebody shows me something that they deserve a compliment for, I need to compliment people. I can't just be a hater. So let me give you a few examples of why I want to compliment Trump now, but still call him out for the nonsense he did. When RFK was running his little presidential campaign, go back a year and a half, go watch Anomaly podcast. Anybody that watches my podcast all the time, they know what I said. They said, Anomaly, what do you think about RFK? I said, listen, I like the guy. He seems like a decent guy. He's right about pharmaceuticals. He's right about vaccines. He's right about the food supply. He understands like why we're being destroyed with pesticides and all this weird food. But I wouldn't vote for him. He's too Democrat. He's going to pick stupid people. I don't trust him as the president. But also I told people he's running a fake campaign. And I said, if RFK is real, and I'm not even saying he is real now, if you notice things about him that's not real, keep calling it out. I'm not trying to stop you because there's some suspect things about RFK too. But at the same time, I said, if RFK is real and he wants to impress me, he should drop out and endorse Trump. What's the point of running a presidential campaign where you get 5% of the vote? You just lie to everybody. You get women to like you. You sell books and then you keep it moving with your life and you make no impact. I said, if RFK really wants to change the food supply, if he really means what he's saying right now, he should drop out, endorse Trump, and leverage his support for a position in the Trump administration. I said that a year and a half ago. I said that a year ago before anyone ever thought RFK was going to do that. That's what I said because I didn't take his campaign seriously. What did he do? Exactly what I wanted him to do. He dropped out. He endorsed Trump. Now he's getting a position in Trump's White House, probably at FDA or HHS or something in that department. Do you want me to sit here and act like that's not cool? I'm not saying I made it happen because I didn't, but I'm impressed. That's cool. I want him to be in charge of the FDA. Look at who Trump hired for the FDA last time. He hired Scott Gottlieb, a pharma shill. He hired for HHS Alex Azar, a pharma shill. This is bad. I'm never going to apologize. I'm not switching sides. I'm the same person I was 2 years ago, obviously older, hopefully wiser. Hopefully I'm aging well with my looks, but jokes aside, I'm not changing. I'm not selling out. I'm balancing two ideas. I'll never forget what Trump did, and I'll never stop talking about it, and I'll never act like it's okay. But it's not like he's got Scott Gottlieb on stage saying, yeah, he's got RFK on stage saying he wants to make America healthy again, and RFK has successfully used his leverage to probably get that position. I like that. I'm not going to sit here and be a negative Nancy just because a bunch of low energy crabs that have overinflated egos think that they're smarter than me when they're not. Ron Paul, he's probably my favorite person in political history. Ron Paul's the man. Ron Paul inspired me when I was younger. I always like Ron Paul. You could find a rap song of mine in 2012 where I name dropped Ron Paul and I said, I like Ron Paul. It's in my song Faded, which is a totally degenerate song because I was 21 or 22, but I had the wisdom to like Ron Paul. With that being said, now Elon Musk is saying, let's bring Ron Paul on board and put him in a position where we can cut the cost of government. Do you want me to sit here and act like this isn't cool? I'm having a good time. Will it happen? Possibly not. And if it doesn't, it is what it is. I don't have high expectations, but when I see the energy and the moves going in the right direction, I'm trying to push them in the right direction, not just sit here and be like, meh. You can do that. I'm not you. I don't want to be you. So for the people trying to police what I am, I'm me. You're you. That's cool. I'm good at soccer. You're probably not. I'm good at basketball. You're probably not. I like ping pong. I play shows in front of thousands of people. I do music. I do podcasts. I'm funny. We're not the same person. I'm sure you got good qualities too, but you're talking to me like I want to be you. I don't want to be you. I'm happy with who I am. I think about things. I'm smart. I'm honest. I'm not selling out. I see what's going on and I want to use my leverage to push it in the right direction. I already made a video on it. I'm not going to repeat myself, but Kamala Harris, nothing's getting done in that department. She's not promising anything. She has nobody cool around her. I would rather Trump win and then use my leverage to push the right people into power rather than just sit and cry all day. So I want to vote Republican locally. It makes sense. Not just to me, it does make sense. Nationally, there's pros and cons to both parties. There's things that they do that bother me. And also, at the end of the day, there's certain ways that they're both compromised. I already know this, but strategically, I see better people getting there in Trump's administration. And while I don't think he's going to pick 100% good cabinet, if he lets Ron Paul run a little bit of the money and he lets RFK run a little bit of the food and drugs, that right there could save 1 million lives. That right there could help 10 million people, because the food in this country is so bad. It's a numbers game. You got 300 something million Americans. The shit that we're eating, it's probably killing millions or tens of millions of people a year. One little tweak there could save 5 million lives. I see it as a strategy. It doesn't mean I'm not going to tell the truth about Zionism. These idiots on Twitter, they're like, oh, you blocked this person because he was talking about this. Bro, I talk about it every week. I have reports on it, hundreds of them. It's like, I'm not selling out. This person's not telling me anything that I've never heard before. They're saying things that I already know and I talk about all the time and lying to their people, pretending like that's the reason I don't like them. And I'm going to just say this, and then I'm going to get back to that. I want to address something specifically in the most graceful way that I can, and then get back to the election and the stuff that I'm talking about, why I like where Trump's going. In general, I'm 35 years old now. I don't know what I look like, but that's how old I am. I have a lot of priorities in life right now. Family being number one, creating a family and having a, happy life and reproducing and, that sort of stuff. Like, that's a big goal of mine and I'm going to do it. It's just like, I got to find the right person, etc. But also my own family. Like, that's what really matters to me. As far as all this other thing, like, I'm not in high school anymore. Okay. I don't like to beef with people. I don't like drama. Even with people that I can't stand, I try to be as graceful as possible. There's just certain opinions that I don't agree with, but I move on. With that being said, somebody that's making a huge stink, and I'm only going to address this once because I want to, and then I'm going to move on because I don't even really have to. But this guy, Brian from High Impact Flicks, is, making a big stink and lying to people about why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I just want to address it and move on. And I just want to be clear. This is something I don't even want to do. Brian looks like he's in his 40s or 50s. I would like to think that he has more important things to do with his life than start like internet drama with somebody younger than him that already debated him on the topics he's crying about and made him look stupid in the debate. Just go watch it yourself. But in general, we debated like 2 or 3 years ago. I don't even remember now, during COVID, maybe 2020, maybe 2021, maybe 2022, whatever. And, I thought he was pretty smart. He keeps it real on a lot of topics. Like, he's willing to dive into topics a lot of Republicans and conservatives won't talk about. So I never disliked the guy. And he was crying about something I said. I don't know. So he asked to debate, right? So we had like a 2 or 3 hour debate. I don't remember how long it is. And unfortunately, because I do think Brian in some ways is a smart guy and he's got a lot of interesting insight, and I like that he talks about topics that a lot of people won't, he derailed the entire conversation and debate and made the entire thing about voting or not voting and how important it was. And honestly, I've talked to hundreds of people. It was one of the dumbest conversations that I've ever had on a stream, and I would never want to have again. It was a waste of my time. It was childish. It was, frankly, in my opinion, embarrassing, and I'm shocked that he thinks that way, but it's okay. I understand where he's coming from, but I'll just give you guys a summary. And if you don't believe me or you want to see it for yourself, you can go try to find that debate and watch it. But he ended up wanting to cry and complain and talk and argue and debate in circles about how important not voting is. And here's my opinion. I said it before. I'll say it again. I sometimes I want to vote. Sometimes I don't want to vote, but I don't think it's as important as people think it is. I don't think it's the most important thing in the world. I don't care that much. Like, if you don't vote or you do vote, I don't really care, because there is an element to both parties being controlled and lobbyists, corporations, foreign countries. And voting's only going to do so much. So I'm not somebody that's like, go vote. I'm like, I vote when I want to vote, when I'm inspired to vote. And I think it makes strategic sense. But I'm not like a blowhard like that thinks you need to vote for Trump. So it should be easy to get along with me, right? But this guy couldn't seem to do that. He has this idea that him not voting is how you change the system. He gets mad that I want to vote with my right, with my tax money that I pay. And he thinks that I'm messing everything up and selling out because by not voting, and this is so dumb, it's like funny to even talk about because I'm going to go through every reason that it's dumb. He thinks by not voting, you change the system. Like, you break the system when you don't vote, and when you vote, you fuel the system. So anybody that's voting is keeping it alive. There's 3 reasons that it doesn't make any sense to me. 1, it's not a thing that's going to happen. I could say if everybody was skinny and everybody in America was half Chinese and half Mexican and they dress like Oompa Loompas and they vote, like, there's all sorts of hypotheticals we can make in our head. But the dumbest one to me is that everybody in the country is not going to vote. You think everyone and simultaneously is just not going to vote in unison. It's never going to happen. It's just as stupid as saying, what if every guy in America got jacked and every woman got skinny? Yeah, the country would be better, but that's not what we live in. What if women never got the right to vote and, Republicans won every state? You could hype, like, that's just not the world we live in right now. And you could think whatever you want or wish it was this or that or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, that's not what it is. So the first and most obvious reason that it's so stupid to be so self-righteous and egotistical that you think by not voting, I'm changing the system and everyone should be like me because then the system would collapse. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard ever. There's not a scenario where everyone's not going to vote. It's not going to happen. It's just like if everyone ate healthy, we'd have no disease, but that's not the country we live in. Okay. Now we go to number 2. If nobody voted, let's just say this hypothetical Oompa Loompa reality that doesn't exist, everybody in America doesn't vote, right? Is Joe Biden not going to vote for himself and Donald Trump and Republicans? Like, are the elites not going to vote for themselves? They're just not going to vote too with us and nobody's going to vote. And then politics is dead. And then he becomes the president. Like it's like talking to a 5-year-old. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You cannot vote. I respect that for you. You don't feel inspired to vote. You don't want to support any party. You don't think there's any strategy to it locally. So you don't vote. Fair, right? Completely fair. Or if you vote for someone else that's never going to win, like as a protest vote, I'm fine with that. Vote for Jill Stein, vote for a libertarian or an anarchist. I don't care. I'm not going to shame you. But do you think that's going to do anything? It's going to do the same thing. Nothing. And then let's just assume that no one voted, the presidents didn't vote for themselves, and the politicians didn't vote, and there were 0 votes. Do you think Kamala Harris and her administration, which is also controlled by the same people, she's just going to leave office and let you in office? Like, it's the dumbest conversation, one of the top 10 dumbest conversations I've had in the last 4 or 5 years with this guy, Brian from High Impact Flicks. He thinks that way. I don't think that way. I've had the conversation with him. I think it's dumb. I thought it was funny that he sells pharmaceutical masks on his website. He's crying about me voting, but he sold pharma masks. Like, we don't think the same. Okay, he's libertarian. He thinks it's cool to sell COVID masks during COVID. I think it's psychotic and hypocritical, but he doesn't think so. Okay, sure. We agree to disagree. Let me just be clear. I was planning on never really thinking about this guy very much, like wishing him well. God bless him. God bless his family. I hope he lives a successful and happy life. I hope his content is as honest and helpful as he thinks it is, and I hope he's crushing it, right? Never had an issue with him. Now, let me just get, for the very few people that even give a shit, because most people don't, then I'm going to get back to my show, for why I blocked him on Twitter and why I decided to do that. Had nothing to do with his opinions, had nothing to do with him talking about Zionism, which I've talked about for 5 years, even before we had the conversation, which I would have loved to talk about, but he wanted to talk about voting in circles for 2 hours. So it ended up being a stupid conversation, a waste of our time. But in general, okay, so now why I blocked him. After that debate, and I'm not going to get into stuff because I'm not 5 years old, I'm not 10 years old, I'm not 15 years old, I'm not in high school. I don't even want to be doing this. I'd rather be talking about other more interesting stuff, but I'm not going to get into specifics because it's completely unnecessary, and I'm a classy, respectful guy, and I'm old-fashioned. But with that being said, what his supporters don't know, after the debate, he probably messaged me a dozen times, okay? He apologized. He talked about his ego. He asked me for help one time. He was having trouble on social media. He wanted me to help him. He messaged me saying he wants peace. He hopes I'm not mad at him still. He hopes I like him. Like, the guy's been on my dick for like 3 years. After the debate, I was totally fine with going our separate ways. He talks to his audience. I talk to mine. If we have overlap, that's cool. I know a lot of people in this world. He's not in the upper echelon of my favorite people, but I don't hate the guy. I think in some ways he's got some interesting things to say. So I was totally fine with separating, never even really thinking about it again. This guy has been messaging me nonstop for 4 years trying to be my friend. Like, can you help me? And I'm having trouble on social media. Can you help me get my YouTube back? Can you do this for me? Can you do that? I'm sorry, man. My ego. Sometimes our egos get out of whack. I'm sorry about that. I'll try to be better. We need to get together. We need to burn bridges. I want to be on the same team. I want peace. I want to crush it. I want to be like, the guy's trying to be my friend, and I don't want to be his friend. So it's like, that's why I blocked him. He's been dick riding me for like 3 years, just asking me for a bunch of things, asking me for help, asking me for this. And then it's like, I can't help him because I have no contacts at YouTube or Facebook or anywhere. So I can't even get a hold of Facebook for me or YouTube for me, let alone him. But it's like he's trying to be friends with me. He's trying to ask for help. He's saying sorry. He's apologizing. He's saying he has an ego. And it's like a psychology or whatever it's called, like it's like a help, like betterhelp.com in the DM, like the guy's just like asking for, okay, bro, you're older than me, like go hang out with your family or people that you're friends with, you know what I'm saying? Like, go talk to them. and I'll do my thing and it's okay. I never want to stop you from, if you think you don't want to vote for Trump, cool. If you don't want, me to vote for Trump, cool. But like, why do you care that I don't agree that not voting changes anything. Like, I don't think it's that important, nor do I think my vote is that important either. It's just my decision. So with all that being said, it's like, that's where we're at. That has nothing to do with the content or whatever. I just don't like some people. And it's like, for them to like throw a fit over me saying why I'm voting for Trump in a video 2 weeks ago, when I'm like enjoying my weekend, when I'm out, not even on the phone, to have people like freaking out on Twitter. This is why I don't even use Twitter anymore. It's like not worth my time. So, to anybody else in that camp, in the sense of like, if you think not voting is how you change the system, no, everyone's going to not vote and it's going to change everything, and you're a hero and you're saving everything, and that's going to break the system. I don't believe that. I don't believe that makes sense. I debated about it. I've had that conversation. I don't want to stay in that loop forever. It's like, there's certain, and I like libertarians because I'm libertarian in many ways, but like, if you go to a libertarian conference, it's just a bunch of weird guys arguing in circles. Not everybody's weird, but it's like, libertarians love to argue. It's like they'll argue. They can't get along on anything because they just like to argue and debate in circles. Right? I like to do a lot of things, but I don't like to debate in circles. I like to have intellectually stimulating conversations and debate. If it's going in circles for 2 hours and it's stupid, I don't want to do it anymore. So it's like, there's a little bit too much of that in some of those camps. And, people like to do that. I don't like to do that. So that's where I'm at with that. And I saw other people as well. And I'm not going to get specific because it doesn't really matter. But it's like, so many people were criticizing me for saying I was voting for Trump, the same way people were when I was criticizing him for all the stuff he did in 2020. But that's how I see it. Like, I don't see, when it comes to the Supreme Court, I don't think Democrat judges and Republican judges are the same. I think it matters. I think Trump didn't pick the greatest judges, but even his worst judge that Trump picked is better than Ketanji Jackson Brown. I believe the country will go in a different direction if Democrats get enough people in the Supreme Court. And to some extent, the Supreme Court justices are underwhelming, but there are certain strategies, and they're not going to save you. During COVID, they didn't save us. So it's like, I'm not that worried about it. But strategically, as a man, as somebody who's not stupid, as a United States citizen, I look at stuff and I make a decision of my own. Should I vote? Should I not vote? Do I think it matters locally? Do I not think it matters locally? Do I think it matters nationally? Do I not think it matters nationally? If I think it matters nationally, how much? I've come to the conclusion it matters locally, it matters nationally, but not as much as everybody thinks. So I'm not going to scream at people to vote, but that's how I feel. And no, man, it doesn't matter who you are and how much energy you spend talking about it. It's not going to change my perspective on that because I've thought it thoroughly. And saying not voting is going to change the system doesn't make any sense to me. I've already had that conversation. So I don't want to live in that world. I just ask everybody to, you know what I'm saying, move on, do their thing, and talk to people who agree with them. The same way when I debated Styx Hexenhammer a couple years ago, and his supporters were just annoying me for years and just coming and like yelling stuff. It's like, he thinks that Trump wasn't responsible for inflation at all. And I think that Trump was partially responsible for inflation because of the COVID money printing. And it's like, I'm right about that. I don't know what to say. It's like, I wish it was more nuanced so I could say I'm wrong, but it's like, Trump's not 100% responsible, but he's not 0% responsible. So it's like, even with people like that, it's like, if you believe that Trump is 0% responsible for inflation, it's all Democrats, and him printing trillions during COVID didn't do anything, it doesn't make sense to me. So why don't you go listen to him? Because that doesn't make sense to me, and it's the same thing with Brian. God bless the guy. God bless his family. I hope he lives a great life. And I think he does have some interesting things to say, but it's like, he believes that not voting is the way to change the system. And I don't think it is. And I don't think you should shame people who strategically vote, especially when you have, for the first time in my lifetime, RFK, even though RFK is compromised in many ways as well. And I'm not afraid for people to point it out, but if he can get in charge of the food, that's a W for America. That's a W for men and women and health. If he can manipulate the FDA and get them off of the pharmaceutical lobby track that they're on even a little bit, I would love that. If Trump could let Ron Paul and Elon Musk could let Ron Paul start to lower some of the spending that we're doing and at least give Ron Paul a seat at the table, that's a massive win. It's not the biggest, it's not going to change our entire world, but I want to see that. I want to see that over Kamala. You understand? That's how I feel. That's how hundreds of millions of people feel. And to me, there's two things going on that certain people on both sides of the equation, whether they love Trump or whether they hate Trump, they can't see it that way. And that's okay, because everyone has a different perspective to some extent. But you can call him out criticize him, speak the truth about him, do reports about what he's doing wrong, at the same time think it makes strategic sense for him to be in office. These are two separate ideas. It's not like everybody's all or nothing where they're like, if you like Trump, you got to vote for him. You got to think about him at night and have wet dreams. You got to let your wife make love to him. I'm just being sarcastic, but you get what I'm saying? Like some of the people that like Trump, they can't understand anything. They think he's like God. And it's hard to talk to these people because it's like, God forbid you say 1, 2, or 20 things about him. They like freak out at you and think you're the enemy. And then there's people on the other side like that as well, where it's like the second you say that you like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 things that Trump did or a few people around him and that you think it makes sense to vote for him, they start freaking out at you also, like you're the enemy and you're sold out. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense. It's just there's really highly emotional and highly charged up people on all sides that want you to be all or nothing. I'm not really that type of guy when it comes to politicians. When I'm with my family, like, yeah, I'm all or nothing with my family, but with Trump or Republicans or RFK, guys, these are politicians. If you like RFK and you come up to me on the street and say, I love RFK, he inspires me. Cool. I'm not going to change what I think, but okay. And then if you come out and you say RFK sold out, look who he's working for, look what he's doing, and I don't like him. Okay, I get that as well. I see the ways he's sold out. RFK is not completely uncontrolled. He is sold out in a few ways that are very alarming, but I don't want RFK in charge of foreign policy. I don't want RFK in charge of environmental policy. I want RFK at FDA and HHS. You might think he might do something terrible there, and only time will tell, but I think he'll do a better job than Scott Gottlieb. I think that RFK understands very clearly and has shown decades of track record of understanding pesticides, vaccines, food. If he gets in charge of pesticides, vaccines, and food and gets in that table, I want that, not to run our government, but to have that position. That's how I see it. I want Ron Paul in there. I want, anybody good in there. And the second that Trump hires Mike Pompeo or somebody else like that, I'm going to say something about it. I'm not just going to sit there and be like, his administration's awesome. I'm going to do the same reports I've been doing. So that's how I see it. And all I want to say before I move on, and we could talk more about the election in a different way. If you think both parties are sold out and they're corrupt and it doesn't matter, then it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, I believe Trump has the potential to possibly be better than Kamala, but if he wasn't, I wouldn't be shocked. You know what I'm saying? And if I have no say in it, then it doesn't matter whether I vote or not vote. Whoever they want in is going to get in anyway. Like, I'm not that attached to the idea of my power in this situation that I really care. Like, if you said it doesn't matter who you vote for, they're going to pick who they want. Okay, then why, if that's true, why would you get so mad and so upset and so perturbed by me voting if it literally doesn't matter? Like, there's a disconnect between how we're thinking, and it just seems like the people who say they're thinking one thing can't possibly be thinking it. Because if you're one of these guys, like, I'm not going to name another name, but somebody that's like, bro, you're totally wrong about this. It's like, you think it doesn't matter who votes, they get in anyway. Then why does it matter whether I show up or not? Trump's not going to win California anyway. I'm really showing up to vote locally. And I'm just kind of giving I also think this way in hopes to get it closer in California to send some sort of a message, because in a one-party state, they're destroying California. They're destroying Los Angeles. They're destroying San Francisco. I've seen what the Democrats do on a local level, and it's insane. They go further. Everything that Trump does bad, they do worse. Everything that Trump does wrong, they go further. So it's like, I don't think my vote for Trump in California is going to do anything. I don't care. If you say that, like, if it doesn't matter, then why are you so mad that I'm choosing to do that with my platform? I didn't say you have to vote for Trump or you're a sellout. I said I'm doing it. In the video, I said I don't even care what other people do. It doesn't matter to me. That's, you watch a lot of things. You can decide for yourself. That's my decision. That's my opinion. And we all have perspectives about who sold out to what extent. And, I see it as, there's a lot of games being played in politics, but I want Thomas Massie in a position. I want Ron Paul in a position. This is what I'm pushing for. And these people are never going to get in with a Democrat, and it's going to be hard with Republicans. But to me, it's the clear, slightly better option. Not super better, not going to change the world. I'm not claiming that he's perfect. That's just how I feel. So it's just the vibes on social media. This is why I don't really post on Twitter that much. It's not that I'm afraid. It's just like I don't want to do it. It's like going to a party that you don't want to be at. It's like, do you want to be at the party that's loud and everybody's screaming and they're playing heavy metal music? And it's like, me? No, I don't want to be there. I'd rather go to the party where everybody's nice and chill and they're playing Jackson 5. That's just what I want. So that's how I view Twitter now. I haven't used it for 3 months. Everybody says, where are you at? You're getting shadow banned. I'm not getting shadow banned. I just don't use it. And the second I post, I got people that have been trying to be friends with me for 3 years crying about me publicly, making videos about it, after they're asking me for help like a year ago. It's just like people are losing their mind on social media. They think they're more important than they are. They think they're smarter than they are. Their egos are blown out of proportion, and they're ruining, like, it's just such a waste of time to argue in circles in text on social media. Like, I don't want to do it anymore. I've done it during COVID. I've argued with grown men in other states on Twitter, 2021, 2022. Cool. I'm not going to stop doing videos and stuff. And in the right situation, I'll have a conversation with someone that I think it's worth it. But like, I'm over that whole vibe. And what I notice when I leave Twitter and I come back, there's dozens of men, dozens of women. All they do is sit on Twitter all day and bitch at each other. It's just such a waste of time. It's just like, God gave us a life to cry on Twitter about someone in another state. And just like, it's like, there's got to be a better way to go about this. And for me, it's podcasting. Totalitarian TV said, Anomaly, is the money better now that you're back on the Trump train? No, and I'm not on the Trump train. I'm not like jumping on a train. It's just I'm using my vote and I'm voting Republican, not on the Trump train. Is the money better now? No, I made more money in 2020 when I was telling the truth about COVID. I made more money in 2021 than I am now when I was doing deep diving reports calling out Trump. So no, for me, the money would be better on the Trump train if I like completely sold out and was just like, Trump, Trump, Trump. He's my hero. He's my savior. Trump, 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 Trump. I'm a former hip hop artist who went to, and now I'm telling the truth. Like, there's an angle I could use to make more money if I like overhyped certain other things I did and like came to the stage to be like a total political operative or something. But I don't do that. I still do the same thing. This is how I really feel. So no, I would say I'm making significantly less now this month, last month. In the 3 months that I've said that Trump, I like him more than I did like 2 years ago, even though I don't forgive what he did. No, I've not. Like, people want to make this narrative like, oh, there's the money's pouring in. I made way more money in 2021, way more money in 2020. And also, I'm going through a transition period. I'm moving. I'm setting up a new studio. So I'm not really tripping over the finances. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like, oh, I need to make money. It's like, this has nothing to do with that. There's been zero people have reached out to me and be like, oh, you like Trump again? Here's money. Like, that literally hasn't happened. That's not my business model. But if people want to lie and pretend like it is, they can. It's just not true. And at the end of the day, like, what are we trying to do here? You could disagree with what I'm saying. You could not like me, but that's the reality of my situation. Smashing Random Keys. Good question. He said, what's your opinion on accelerationism? For those who don't know, I think accelerationism is like, if you're Republican, you want Democrats to win just to screw it up further because it'll accelerate the bad and then the bounce back will be better. And if I've met, like, this was years ago in LA, that someone told me they were a communist and they liked Donald Trump because they thought that Trump was going to destroy the system and pave the way for communism, which, it's like, if you're a communist and you think Trump will do that, it's an interesting perspective. What do I think about it? I'm not 100% against it or for it. I think it has validity to it. I wouldn't say that I'm an accelerationist, like it's my ideology and I believe it, but I could see that, like some people want things to get worse quickly so then things can get better more quickly, like the bounce back happens. It's interesting. I mean, I wouldn't rule out that could happen or has happened in the past. So, yeah, I would say it's an interesting philosophy that I'm not like 100% like, oh, that doesn't make sense. It kind of makes sense, but also like there's other ideologies that make sense that are different. But yeah, great question. Great super chat. Thank you. And yeah, I find it a very interesting philosophy personally. Someone said the DNC would pay you to like Kamala. Oh, of course. I mean, I think right now it's easier to get money from Kamala. Like, they'll just pay, I don't know for sure, but like, I'm sure they have a lot of money because they're so lame that they need it. I think you can get money in politics, guys. I've been at this since 2018 or 19. I know how things work. I'm not somebody I don't go to like big donor events. I don't go to everything. If you want political money as what I do, you just go to all the events, you go to the donor meetings, like you go to Washington, you go to the RNC, and you just hang out and you network and you try to figure out who's got the money, who's the think tanks, who's the nonprofits. That's how you get money in politics. But regardless of the false narrative people want to spread, I don't do that. I never want someone to have leverage over me like that. So I'm not that type of person. Even if I go to an event and I talk to people and stuff, I'm not interested in that. And I'm not going to like name names because it's irrelevant or it's not necessary, like, but I've had people, this was like 5-6 years ago, they're calling me being like, can you talk to your other friend? Because my donor did this. And like, they're like trying to like beef with me through someone else that I have nothing to do with because they're mad that their donor's doing something with someone else. And it's like, you have no idea what type of divas and idiots some of these people are, that are like, I'm a patriot, there's a lot of money in that. If you're running around sucking up donor money, trying to just be like the biggest pawn. But that's what some people do. They see that as their route. They want to be a politician. They want attention. They want to be on Fox News. I'm not that guy. They brought me on Fox News once they figured out that I know how Zionism works and how it impacts American politics. They've never invited me on television again. Maybe one day they will again, and that'll be great, and I'll be grateful or whatever. Maybe one day Tucker Carlson will want to talk to me. Maybe he won't. Maybe Joe Rogan will have me on. Maybe he never will. I have no idea, but it's like I don't go around sucking up to people in order to get things. Like if they want to talk to me, that's cool, and I want to do it, but I don't play that game. But that's how you get political money. Like you have to kind of seek it and want that. But I specifically don't want that. And I've created a business model that I don't need to do that. Not only would I never do that, it's just like I don't need to do that, and I'm working on, bettering my business model even better for the next year so I can, maintain and not ever have to think about like working another job because I would never do that anyway. So it's all good. Someone said, still homeless, Democrat or Republican, nobody's coming to help you. If they can control you, they have no use for you. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think no matter which way you sway, just be real. Just be honest with yourself. Realize what it really is and don't get that into it as far as like, like then you'll just be disappointed. Someone said you made a huge difference. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And, I'm grateful for how everything turned out. I'm super happy. And I've done a lot. I've definitely, accomplished a lot. And I'm super grateful for all of that. People that I've met. When I meet people on the street and they say during COVID, you helped me so much, you influenced me to do the right things. I'm so happy. And like, it's nice to hear, it's nice to hear, especially in person. Thank you for the text too. But, I hear that in person all the time. So I know I've made an impact on people's lives. I know I've done good stuff. And also I don't believe I'm powerless. So I think like, I'm not going to change the system, but I do believe in the Overton window shifting, and I've seen it shift. Like I don't want to just sit here and complain. Like somebody that I want to mention that maybe, for press purposes, I probably shouldn't, but I don't really give a shit is Andrew Torba. He runs gab.com. That guy's, the press has put that guy through the ringer because he tried to make a social media that's American made, that's owned by a Christian, and that he wants to operate on the First Amendment. So he allows like a lot of stuff as long as it's legal. And he's the real one out of all the social media. And he likes Trump now. And it's like the people that are getting mad at me, it's like, you haven't put your balls on the table like Andrew Torba has to like, that guy goes super hard on a lot of topics that get you in a lot of trouble and a lot of people did not like you. And he runs a company that's a social media that's allowing people to have conversations that are First Amendment friendly. So it's like the type of people that are going to judge me and say, oh, how dare you like Trump? It's like you haven't risked as much as Andrew Torba has, and if he thinks that way, if Thomas Massey thinks that way, if Ron Paul thinks that way, these are all different people. But it's like, are you going to call Thomas Massey a sellout? Thomas Massey's the best person in Washington. He's every bit of a man that none of these haters will ever be. Yeah. Is he a bad guy now because he endorsed Trump? No, he sees what we all see. High IQ guys in this country can see that this is moving in the right direction. Maybe not as fast as it should. Maybe it's not everything everybody wants and everybody has different agendas, but it's like, is Thomas Massey a horrible person now? I don't think so. He just sees what's going on with Trump's administration and knows that there's more of a path to success in that direction. So it's like, I've seen people that are even, look at Kim.com. I'm not going to say what, you can find out for yourself, but Kim.com, who is a very huge figure on social media, and he owned, I think, megaupload.com. He's been really, saying a lot of edgy stuff that they don't want you to say. And he's been going really, really hard. He wants Trump to win, and he's saying like the topics that people are like, you don't want to talk about, Kim.com saying more than anyone else is on that topic publicly with a lot to lose. And he wants Trump to win. Why do you know, it's like there's a commonality here where it's like you could not want Trump to win. You could want him to win. You could vote. You could not vote. I'm not going to say it defines who you are, but it's like there's a lot of people who say a lot of stuff, who talk about a lot of stuff, who say edgy things and, know about how both parties are sold out, et cetera, that still think that the better option is Donald Trump. So it's like, just respect people that want to vote for him just the same way that some people respect you for not voting. It's like, it's got to be mutual. But if the respect's not mutual, then it's just like a high school made up dumb boy drama that makes no sense. Someone said Kentucky politicians are the best besides Cocaine Mitch. I don't know anyone else from Kentucky. I like Thomas Massey, but the Democrat from Kentucky, the governor's not that great. Smashing Random Keys said, I listened to your new song. You should start treading the dictionary. How long did it take? Have you thought about starting a music channel like Timmy Diglett did? Timmy Diglett. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. No, I just mix the two, and it's like if it affects my views and stuff, I don't really care. It could make sense to make two separate ones, but this is who I am. If people like it, that's cool. I would say I'm detached from the results. Like personally, that new song I made, I think it's one of my best songs ever, and I think it's a top tier song, and I think it'll age well, and I think it'll do well. It's a timeless song that's going to do well. I'm detached from how well it's doing now. Like if it gets a lot of views, I'm not really concerned with it, and I'm at peace with it, so it doesn't bother me because I know that if the song is as good as I think it is, then it'll get the results when the time's right. So with that being said, I would say no, I'm not. I'm probably not going to start a music channel. I'm just going to do it on here. And how long did that song take to make? I'm not really sure because it's super long. I just wrote a little bit, a couple days later, would leave right. Took a while, but I just kept coming back to it like sporadically. Someone said voting is for chumps. Let me ask you this, Iron Man, which is funny because I always say people that think they're voting, they think they're Iron Man. That's funny. That's your name. I'll just ask you, and we'll talk about other things while you're responding. What do you think not voting does? Like if voting's for chumps, chumps, sure. Do you think like your not vote changes anything? Like Kamala or Trump's going to get in anyway. Like why do you take your non-vote so seriously? I can't understand that. Like if not voting is fine, but like taking your non-vote like so seriously, like these people think that they're like Jesus reincarnated. Like, I didn't vote. Look, everything's changed. Kamala or Trump's still going to get in whether you vote or not vote. Like why do you take it so seriously? I truly don't understand it. In my personal perspective, just like, you have a perspective. I think you're taking it too seriously and wasting too much time giving yourself credit for something that doesn't matter that much. Victoria with the $20 super chat. She says, your new song was insane. Thank you so much. Victoria loves Jesus. I appreciate you. Thank you. And I'm super grateful for the support. I see it. Everybody with the nice comments and stuff. I see all that. I'm very grateful. And thank you. Appreciate it. Someone said, vote for the McJab father to save us. I'm not saying he's going to save you. I don't think he's going to save me. I didn't think my life was ruined when Biden got in. I don't think that way. I don't think the Jab father is going to save you. I just think it makes slight strategic sense given what's on the table right now. But if you don't, that's okay. I also see what's going on at the border and what the Democrats are trying to do with demographic shift. Like I think that will make a massive impact as well on that topic, Trump. It's not going to fix everything, but that I do believe that makes a difference. Like if you don't think demographics make a difference, or you don't think the border being open and 10 million people coming in, or you think that he's not going to fix it, I respect that. But like what I'm trying to say is like I don't think the same way as some people think. But you're not telling me anything I've never thought of before. Like you're not blowing my mind with some new philosophy I've heard it, I've thought that, and I think how you're thinking is dumber personally. But it's okay. Let's see. Because you're participating in a broken system where both parties. So do you think that ends? Like, do you think all the bad things end because you don't vote? Like, here's the thing with people like you guys, and I'm not trying to be rude, but like, you just waste my time where there's so much stuff we could talk about and there's so many things, but like, you guys, for some reason, for like 5 years, you're going to be stuck in the same place. You're like, supporting the system that does all these bad things is bad. So by you not supporting it, how are you stopping it? You're not stopping it. Like it's not stopping any more than somebody who's voting. Not voting doesn't stop the system. Not voting doesn't change the system. it's your right to not participate, but the show goes on, whether I vote or you don't vote or I vote, until enough people realize that it's going on. So picking these like little battles with people who know what's going on and just like being like a mosquito to them, like on what planet are you actually being helpful? In my view, I think you guys are like your egos are just inflated. You're like one of those guys who like you're on a sports team and you're like the second to worst one on the sports team, but you think you're Michael Jordan. Like that's how I see your philosophy. Like you think you're not dumb, like you're smarter than a liberal and you're smarter than a lot of conservatives in some case, but you like you're so into your ideas that you end up being dumb because it's like you're harping on one thing that like isn't that big of a deal, or at least like you're not changing it. It's good to know that it's happening and it's good to call it out and it's good to do what you think is right, but it doesn't, like you're literally not stopping it. And now he's cursing. He said, "You're not effing getting it." Here's all I ask, my guy. Like your energy, your vibe, the type of person you are, no offense, no disrespect. I don't like you. I'm not impressed by you. I don't think it's intelligent. I don't think you're interesting. I don't think your energy's good. I don't think you're pleasant to speak to or be around. I'm talking to the guy in the comments. Why not go talk to like anarchists who agree with you on this topic and you guys can like yell at each other and get like, why not do that? I don't understand that. Like, why spend years of your life like running in circles, just being like a low energy crap? It's just like, it's really weird. Someone said, yeah, I mean, someone said if everyone stops following a law at once, hold on, that was a decent one. All right, I missed it. Sorry about that. $2 super chat. Not voting makes it easier for the tyrants to rule. To some extent, yeah, but also people need to pay attention as well. In my opinion, you could vote for who you think is better, but also just pay attention. So there's, I don't think voting is going to solve it completely. But the thing is, I live in a one-party state. Like I see how it works. It's disastrous when they have to compete, even if a lot of their competing superficial. Not all of it is. There are different policy changes that they have. There is different philosophies that they have. So, like in a state or in a county, when you have competition, it forces if you look at Democrats that slightly control a Republican state or it's 50-50, they're not as crazy as certain California politicians because they have no fear of losing an election. So I don't think elections matter as much as people think they do, but I also personally, I don't think they don't matter at all. I think that they do matter to some level, just not as much as everybody thinks. So it's like the people that want to argue for 20 years about the other side of that coin, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I think it's just weird and like bad vibes and just, like you guys are just like, you don't get it. It's like, bro, I've been to conferences and stuff where there's a bunch of people like you. You guys, no offense, you guys are not as impressive as you think you are. You're not as interesting. You're not as smart. It's just like massive inflated ego. I'll give you an example, and hopefully this guy's not watching because then he'll get pissed, but I don't really care. I was out at a park yesterday, right? And I saw people that were Kennedy for Trump, right? Kennedy for Trump. And I just stopped to say what up because I thought it was funny, and they're arguing, etc. So in general, it's like this one guy's talking to me, right? He's not listening. He's just talking my head off about what he thinks. And, like he thinks he's so smart that he doesn't have to listen to anybody. He could just talk. Cool. Whatever. So anyway, I walk away and I guess some lady told him who I was, like she knew my social media, and he runs back out to talk to me, right? Because he realized that I was more important than he thought I was. Like he just thought I was just, and it doesn't matter who someone is on social media. I treat everybody like normally. Like I don't treat people like that. But anyway, he now is like, oh, that guy's actually important. Let me go talk to him again. And he runs out and he talks to me and he's like, I went to Columbia. I'm a futurist. I'm a revolutionary because I went to Columbia. And it's like, it just sounds so dumb. Like you went to a university, so you're a revolutionary futurist. Like, like some people, they think they're so smart. And like, it's like, usually those people are not nearly as impressive or intelligent as they think they are. It's like, yeah, you're not dumb, but like, you're not on the level that you think you are. Like that's how some of these people remind me of. They're just like, they think they're way smarter than they are. And they're just so angry about it. And it's like, bro, smart people and wise people are not acting that way, in my view. Someone said only Anomaly doesn't have an ego. Get it right, guys. That's not what I said. I just have self-awareness. I don't know. A lot of people don't, but it's whatever. You can think what you want. I'm not really tripping about it. Squirrel lives matter. Yeah, I apologize for people who care about that. That whole saga went right over my head. I was busy this weekend, so I didn't. I was like, do I have to like research a squirrel getting killed now? So I'm sorry that I didn't cover that, but I just don't want to. Why do I keep mocking Trump? Time to grow up anomaly. How do I mock Trump? Because I do his voice. Listen, Teddy. This is not mockery, okay? This is just how Trump talks. It's comedy, okay? I have a fast club ball swing. My ball goes really far off my golf club, okay? It's not mockery, it's just comedy, okay? Get it right, pay the price, okay? Is that mockery? I don't know. It makes people laugh. It's funny. I don't think it's is that mockery? I don't know. That bothers you? This is the internet. It's like some people you criticize Trump too much. Other people you don't criticize them enough. It's like everyone's like, "Meh," and it's like, oh yeah, this is so fun. I like live streams because I get to talk and make jokes and stuff. But like, I'm not. This is what people want me to do on Twitter. They want me to sit here and argue with random people for like 5 days straight. It's like I'm not. I did that at one point in my life, and it's if I could think about the last 3 years, it's the dumbest, least healthy thing I've done in the last 3 months, probably. So I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not having text arguments with low energy people, just crying about every aspect of everything in really dumb ways. I'm not doing it. Someone said imitation is the highest form of flattery. I guess you could say that. People troll anomaly. Yeah, but it's also the internet is a place where like everyone's here. There's 350 million people in America. There's billions of people in the world, and everyone has an opinion. And everyone with their opinion thinks their opinion's so smart. And the people that are the most, headstrong about their opinion, they're assuming that they're right and you're wrong. And the guy, like the one guy that's like spurging out in the comments, he thinks not voting is going to change it. Like he thinks his not vote's going to matter. Either Kamala's going to get in or Trump's going to get in. Like if you don't vote, one of them's going to be the president anyway. So how like you think your not vote is saving the day, but it's literally not doing anything. That's all I'm saying. Like it's just like, you know, if you're so concerned about certain topics, then go start an organization and work on those topics. Like there's things that I do outside of news analysis of things that I think are important for myself, for the country. Like I try to be the change I want to see. I don't think like not voting is going to save the country. Like if you're so concerned with the things you're commenting about, why not work towards that instead of just yelling on social media about it? Like I have the self-awareness to know like me tweeting all the time doesn't matter. People ask me like, I don't see you on Twitter because I don't tweet anymore. Everyone knows what I think for the most part. Why do I have to tweet what I think 20 times a day and live in an alternate universe where everybody's text tweeting each other? It's stupid. I was on a beach. I'm doing push-ups. I'm, doing stuff for my business. Like I spend time with my family, people that I love, people that matter more than some random guy in Wisconsin screaming on his laptop at 10 a.m. wasted while his wife's like sleeping in the bed by herself. It's like, this is not a world I want to really live in. Of course, I like social media. I'm grateful. I'm going to continue to do live streams and make a living or whatever. But it's like, I don't want to be on Twitter talking to 100 million people. It's just like dumb to me now. But I like Twitter. It's got a lot of good information, but that's what politics has become recently. I mean, it's always been a little bit of that, but like people take themselves way too seriously, and the dumbest people are always the most angry. Like the smartest people are not spurging out all the time. I remember during COVID, the most annoying people to me, even more annoying than liberals somehow, because I think I was in the orbit of conservatives, was the QAnon people. They were spurging out at me like psychopaths, like mentally ill demons, like the whole COVID. How dare you talk about the lockdowns? Trump's going to save the world from Guantanamo Bay. How dare you? It's like these people were psychopaths. They were like threatening me, like they were going nuts. There's a lot of mentally ill people in this country. There's a lot of fat people in this country. There's a lot of people addicted to pharmaceuticals, and there's a lot of alcoholics. And all you have to do is log into social media to see all the fatties, all the druggies, all the alcoholics, and all the mentally ill people just yelling their opinion, thinking that it matters. It's like, I know what matters and I know it doesn't matter. I don't take myself overly seriously. Like I'm aware of what I'm doing. And, if I took myself more seriously and I had a huge ego, I'd be tweeting 20,000 times a day. I'm not, because what's the point at this point? I don't see the benefit for me or anyone else. Someone said politics is already dead and has been for a very long time. I have a question. R Daily, maybe I don't know what you mean by that, but if that's how you feel about politics, which I get what you're saying, why watch like a political show? You know, just curious. Like people that are like, it's dead. It's like, all right, then why spend any time entertaining yourself with, do you like me? Do you think I'm funny or something? Like, there's got to be something about my show you like that you want to watch. I appreciate it. I just don't understand like someone said Q-tards are just as bad as Democrats. They were annoying during COVID. That's all I'll say. They're not being as annoying to me now for whatever reason, but during COVID, they were going nuts. They were like, Trump's purposely locking the country down to save the world from Europe. It's like, no, he's not, but okay. Someone said Pennsylvania already had the voting outcomes days ago in Kamala's favor down to a single vote. I don't know what you mean by that, but we'll see tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be an interesting day. I don't know. I try to live my life and not have like crazy expectations for things. Like I'm not, I think Trump's going to win, but I don't know. I remember what it felt like when Biden won and it's like, oh, Biden's going to be the president. That felt crazy. Someone said, why do you keep calling Trump the jab doctor? Someone in the comments called him that, and I just read the comment. Relax, bro. I'm not trying to be rude, but it's like, this is what we're talking about. It's like one guy calls Trump the jab father. I read his comment. You're freaking out because you like Trump. This guy's freaking out because he thinks he's Batman for not voting and the world's going to be saved when it's literally not. It's just like people on the internet are fascinating to me. Thane said, can't really stand your show. I appreciate you talk about when real something run things, but I'm here for the chat in the comments to see how people react to get a finger on the pulse. Thanks for supporting the show while you can't stand it. That's an interesting way to spend your life. I don't know. Do you have any hobbies or businesses that you want to start, or you have any passions that you could be good at, or no? You just read the comments on shows you don't like. That's cool. Thank you, The Bridge. I appreciate it. Here comes RFK with the steel chair. Time will tell. I mean, we'll see what happens. Someone said misery loves company for sure. They're going to tell us next week that Kamala won. And if anyone doesn't like that, they will kill us at our door. I don't know about that, but fascinating. Everybody. Someone said jab doctor's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, someone commented it and I read it. Thank you, Lonnie. I appreciate it. Thank you for the comment. I feel more so like him, LOL. I watch while I play guitar. That's what's up, Blaze. There you go. Double tasking. What do you play on guitar? What's your favorite song? Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate you. Thank you, me. That's your name. That's his name. Hopefully election day doesn't turn into election week. Well, it's probably going to, because there's a few states that just take forever to count. I think Arizona, Pennsylvania, these are states that they just take too long to vote or to count the votes, which is not good. But even that, it's like, obviously I don't like that. I don't think it makes sense, but I don't spend that much time like worrying about it. I don't know. I think at a certain point, especially as like not everybody gets wiser when they get older and not everybody like learns from life, etc. But I think there's an old saying that I've always thought of, but I really try to hone down on it the older I get, where it's like, you can't just freak out about everything, where it's like, can you do something about it? Then you got to do what you can do. And if you can't do anything about it, then you can't worry about it. You can only do so much. And that's how I feel about voting. It's like, whether you vote or don't vote, the thing that you want to change is probably not going to change. So like pretending like it is because you're not voting doesn't make sense. I don't, and getting so worked up about it. Like, you could tell yourself that it's helping, but it's not. Like, it's just odd. M with the $2 super chat says, hold on. Israel/Mossad owns American government with a $2 super chat. You got to pay at least $10 to read that, because the media doesn't like when you say that, even though it's, everybody knows. But anyway, Chad's older brother says, I hate rap, but you put out a banger last week. Thank you so much, Chad. I appreciate it. That's how life is at the end of the day. It's like, I put the song out. I think it's great. I appreciate that you like it, but I'm not sitting there looking at the views being like, oh, I want this to do more or less. Like, I'm at peace with it. It's like, if it's as good as I think it is and you think it is, over time, people will find out about it. It will age well. It'll make as much sense in 10 years as it does now. I'm not stressing about the now. I don't, the results and everything. Even when people are like, are you making more that you're saying you like Trump? Now I'm not, but I don't care and I don't want to, like, it's like I'm not trying to like be broke or anything, but it's like I just don't live my life in that reality where I'm constantly just like seeking things. I need validation. I need your support. I need this. I need that. It's like I need to put my all into what I'm doing, make it as great as I can, put it out, and then move on. Do what I can or not. I see everything like that. It's like when it comes to the election, it's like all these people that there's not that many, but all the people complaining in the comments that are so upset that I'm voting, like you would like me if I didn't vote, if I said, you know what? I don't care that somebody got killed in my county by someone who got let out by a Democrat prosecutor, which happened. It literally makes a difference, but I'm not going to vote because I just am so fed up with the system. I'm not going to vote at all. Then you'd like me? Like, no offense, but these are not the people I want to like me. Because if you're so flimsy on whether you like me or not over that, it's like, what else are you flimsy? You know what I'm saying? It's just like you guys would love me if I just said I'm not voting. Okay, cool. Like, it doesn't make me, like, it's not going to change who I am. It's not going to change what I've done. It's not going to change what I do in my spare time. Like, this doesn't define me. I'm not a voter. It's not like that's like the most proud thing I've ever done in my life. It's just funny that that's what means the most to you. Like, I don't understand it. Like, we're living in different realities, which I'm fine with, but you're clearly not fine with. But it's fascinating. When's the OnlyFans dropping? Said Smashing Random Keys. Hopefully never. Hopefully never. If that's how I sold out or I'm in trouble. If an OnlyFans drops, something's going wrong. So hopefully never. And if you ever see me open an OnlyFans like that, that something went wildly wrong somewhere along the road, mentally, physically, financially. And with that being said, look up, if you don't know already, the guy who runs OnlyFans gave millions of dollars to AIPAC, the Israel lobby. Isn't that interesting? Look that up. The founder of OnlyFans is using the money he's getting from basically pimping out everybody's women to, fund Israel's lobby in America. Or they say it's not or something. It's American lobby for them. But yeah, that's where that money's going. So just something to research if you haven't. Catherine said, blessings anomaly. I do like you. Just shocked you're voting when you spent 4 years saying how corrupt and owned the government is and who owns them. Well, I'm not going to repeat myself because I don't want to bore people, but I explained why earlier. I'm going to use my leverage if Trump wins to try to get Ron Paul. Here's what I want to ask you. Okay. Hold on 1 second. The police are arresting somebody. It wasn't me, but she caught me on the counter. It wasn't. Sorry, there was just a ambulance going by. It was distracting me. But here's what I'll say. If Ron Paul gets a position in Trump's cabinet and actually does something, will you apologize to me? If RFK gets into the food supply, takes the fluoride out of the water, stops spraying pesticides and makes our food quality as good as it should be in other countries, are you going to apologize to me? Because I'm not claiming Trump's going to do all these things, but it's like, will you all apologize to me if something good happens out of this? Or are you just like, nothing good will happen, and even if it does, I don't care. It's like, okay, then be that person. I'm not that guy. We're not the same. It's okay. I'm not asking you to be me. This is just how I think, So how is it that it's not that shocking? It's not that shocking of a thing that I think Republicans are better. It's not that shocking. It's always been that way. That doesn't mean that I'm going to like pretend like I don't see the things that Trump's doing wrong. I'm going to report on him. I don't like Mike Pompeo. I think he's likely to put Mike Pompeo in at the Secretary of State. Is Mike Pompeo worse than Anthony Blinken? I would say they're almost identical. So it's like, I don't think you're like losing that much, and if you think it is, then let's talk about it. I don't. Someone said, I'll eat crow, but will you? Sure, but here's the thing. I'm not promising that Trump's going to do anything. It's just like, I think it makes slight strategic sense. Yeah, if Trump ends up being worse than Kamala Harris and like ushering in communism with a controlled opposition scheme that's as bad as COVID, yes, I will apologize and I will eat crow, okay? If anything else happens, I'm not expecting Trump to reinvent the wheel. If he does something as bad as COVID, I'll apologize and I'll eat crow. Is that fair? Because I'm not, outside of that, I'm not really expecting anything besides a few little wins. I'm not that into the voting. I know what Kamala's doing. I know what she's doing to the border, and I know what she's doing to the country. And, I have slight hope that Trump can do better than that. But yeah, I'll eat crow if Trump ushers in something as bad as COVID. Yes, 100%. The lawsuit that caused McDonald's to remove beef tallow was started by a Jewish guy. He apparently started a health nonprofit. Interesting, right? Said smashing random keys with a super chat. The guy that caused McDonald's to remove beef tallow. I have actually looked that up. So yeah, I gotta relook it up. That was a super chat, but I've seen that. So is Blinken and so is Mayorkas, but of course that doesn't matter. So don't talk about it because it's hateful, aka just interesting. But anyway, someone said I'm fully preparing for all hail President Kamala. Okay, I don't think you're serious, but if you are, fascinating. Ronnie said you're a damn moron. All right, Ronnie on Facebook, mad. What we got the Facebook guys mad. What did I do now, my friends? After the show, I'll eat some beef tallow fries. Now, I'm on the same page with the tallow. I think seed oils are a scam for sure. Also, I have in my new song, I said that Lord Rothschild told the UK to pasteurize milk, which is also true. Look that up. He, in the UK, Lord Rothschild was pushing to pasteurize milk. So, it is what it is. I said it in my song. What are my thoughts on Elon Musk? He's an interesting character. I mean, I can't say I fully trust him, and I wouldn't be shocked if he did something crazy, egregious. But he's saying a lot of interesting stuff. He's elevating a lot of interesting people, and then he's also doing some sus stuff. But I like that he's bringing Ron Paul into the conversation. I like what he did with Twitter for the most part. I like that he's noticing that certain groups are pushing hate against other groups that must not be named. Like there's a lot of things that Elon's doing that I find really helpful. So someone said, Anomaly, you're very consistent. People surprised or talking shit never listen to you. Most people, it's a few people that sound really loud, but it's okay. I don't mind the backlash. Like as long as it makes sense, or even if it doesn't, it's just part of the job that I do. So I don't really trip about it. I find the discourse fun sometimes on podcasts, but yeah, everybody sees things a different way, but like, I can't explain it, but like, I don't want to be other people. I love to be inspired or influenced by somebody honest that shows me a new thing. But like, I've seen the way I'm very grateful. I'm very appreciative outside of politics. Like when I walk around, I'm a very friendly person. I tip really well. I do really nice things. I make friends with random people. Like that's just who I am. That's who I've always been. I'm a nice guy and I feel like I'm a good person. I'm not trying to talk myself up, but like this is off camera. Some people, they say all these things like they're so great, and then they're pieces of shit. They're rude to every waitress. They're nasty. Like I like to make people's day. I like to have fun. I like to enjoy my life. I like to make a good impression on people. It doesn't always happen that way. You have bad things that happen by mistake and you rub people the wrong way. That's natural, but it's like, that's who I am. There's other people that they think just because they think one thing in politics that I don't agree with, that makes them a good person. But it's like you take yourself way too seriously. And I don't know who you are and I don't care. But it's just like, that's not how I view the world. So you got people that aren't me trying to make me be them. It's like, I'm not you. Everything that I've gotten is because I'm grateful, because I'm appreciative, because I'm honest, because I work hard, because I'm able to compliment sometimes and point out what's, I think I'm a very fair person. So it's like, I see the people that are mad at me and I'm like, I don't want to be you. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. Doesn't mean you're bad at what you do, but like, I'm not you. I respect who you are, but you don't respect who I am, which is fine. But it's like, my results speak for themselves. My life speaks for themselves. I've done what I've done, like I'm not looking to impress people that are not, impressive to me. Like, I don't care. I want to give an example just because like women might not be able to relate to this, maybe in a different way, but I think a lot of athletes or men that play sports will relate to this. But there's the old saying when it comes to the shopping cart. If you're a good person, you put the shopping cart away when no one's looking. They say it's the ultimate test of your character because nobody's looking. There's no penalty, but respectable people put their carts away, and annoying and not thoughtful people and people that don't think about others, they leave their cart out in the parking lot. So it's like, that's the old test of like, how good are you when no one's paying attention, right? When you play basketball at a street court, 5-on-5, no referee. You know what I'm saying? There's no people watching. There's no slow replay. The amount of dishonesty that grown men will do to each other is astonishing. Like, I'm a super honest person. The same way I'm here, that's how I'm at the basketball court. I don't lie. I don't say you fouled me if you didn't. I don't make stuff up. If the ball went out on me, I'll admit it, and you get the ball. I don't want to win by cheating. I want to win fair and square. Most men are not like that. They cheat, they lie, they miss a layup, they're embarrassed, they say they got fouled, the ball went out on them, they say it went out on you, they suck, but they're yelling at you to play defense when they don't play defense. Like, it's fascinating to watch the psychology during a 5-on-5 basketball game, because you could see that sometimes you're with a group of guys and they're all pretty cool, but sometimes you're with people and they just suck. And like, I play sports, I see that all the time. There's always guys, like, if you're the best on a team, like, you're the best on the team, or you're top five. Everyone else knows that watches. Like, if you watch the NFL, you know who the best are and you know who's not that good. But like, in their head, like, some guys think they're the best when they're not the best, and it's like an ego thing. Like, they lie to themselves. And it's like, I'm very self-aware. If I'm really good at a sport, I know I am. If I'm the best, I know I am. If I'm not, and I'm just trying really hard and I'm trying to keep up, I know that as well. It's like, I'm very self-aware of my position, and most men are not. That same psychology, whether you put your shopping cart away, or whether you lie on a basketball court when no one's looking, or whether you're just a douchebag on a team when you think you're the best, when you're literally the worst. Like, this translates to real life too. In politics, there's a lot of Democrats. They think they're so smart and they're so dumb. They think they're so nice, but they're so mean. There's certain people on the right where they think they're so honest and they're not. And it's like, it's just called self-awareness. If you're as good as you think you are, then maybe you're that good, but maybe you're not. It's hard for people to admit where they're strong and where they're weak. And these are the people that get mad at me. It's people that have inflated sense of ego. And it's not just in politics. It's not like this is the first time or whatever. Like, I don't, there's people in the comments saying this and that. That's fine. Maybe they don't like it. Maybe they have different opinions, but I deal with this in every aspect of life. I deal with it in business. I deal with it in sports. It's the same psychology. Is just how human nature operates. The same way shitty people just leave their shopping cart. I never leave my shopping cart. I always put it back. I'll even put back other shopping carts. I'm a nice person. I'm a good person when no one's watching. Other people, not so much. It's okay. We're not all perfect. I'm not saying I'm like free of sin and I've never flawed, but I try to do my best, and I try to be as thoughtful and respectful as I can to other people when I see them out, when I'm walking around, when I'm buying or purchasing stuff. I try to be a good person. The other day, I bought a hat for somebody that I was with during Halloween. It was like $42. The lady only charged me $4. I could have walked away and got a $42 hat for $4, but it was like a nice little cute shop. There were old ladies who worked there. I walked back and I said, "You undercharged me," and I gave her the full money. Would you have done that? I'm sure some people here would. I'm sure some people wouldn't. They would have said, "Holy shit, I just got a $42 hat for $4. But I felt bad. Someone said you're stalling on moot points. This is life, though. I don't have to talk about politics or election odds all the time. This is not a moot point, in my opinion. I don't care what people think, but it's like, that's just, this is fun for me to talk about. And I think it matters more than certain things. The whole point I'm making is not a moot point. It's like, some people think they're so great just because they have an opinion. And they're just shitty people. It's like, I don't like you. I don't connect with you. You're not my friend. That's okay. But it's like, let it go, or go somewhere where people agree with you. It's like, I don't care. I don't want to be you. I don't think like you. And I don't want to, it's like, I'm satisfied with the way I am. And I've thought about all those things. It's not like you're teaching me something that I haven't seen. And if you do, I'll be grateful that you taught me that. But it's just like, someone said, I would not have, to be honest, said Candy. Yeah. I mean, I was looking at it. I was like, yeah, I think she charged me $4. I was like, I should go back. They were nice. They were old. They made a mistake. I should give them the money. Someone said some peaceniks win because they leave fighting to others. It's not good karma. Yeah, but I guess, it's like, picking your battles wisely is part of it too. I hear what you're saying. I'm not somebody who just meditates. Like, look what I've done. Look what I've said. Look how much I put myself out there during COVID. During COVID, because my Facebook page was so big, Chelsea Clinton tweeted an article saying something about Tucker Carlson, and then she tweeted an NPR article. NPR is government funded, by the way. Chelsea Clinton tweeted an NPR article calling me a conspiracy theorist, basically calling for Facebook to censor me. I put myself so far out there and so far ahead of everybody else in some cases, not like I'm better than everybody else, but just with the pure amount of people I was reaching on one of the biggest social platforms in the world, that Chelsea Clinton is tweeting about me saying that I should lose my page. I'm not sitting here saying kumbaya, letting everybody else talk about everything else. I'm not sitting on the sidelines. I'm not, a peacenik saying, oh, I don't want to talk about that because I pick and choose my situations wisely. I put a lot on the line. I put myself out there. I've had to deal with a lot because of it. But I'm not that person. It's just also what you have to understand, just like that's true that, you don't want to be a peacenik and let other people fight your battles. You also want to fight the right battles because you could spend your whole life fighting a battle and be wrong. Think about all the Democrats that are fighting for the right to, just scrape the, embryo out of their stomach. And it's like they'll spend their whole lives being an abortion activist. And at the end of your life, what if you realize that it's demonic and you're completely wrong and it's such a psychotic thing to harp on and want so bad? It's like, not every fight is the right fight. So that goes left wing, that goes right wing, that goes for everybody. So yeah, I don't think you should be a peacenik in every situation, but there's a lot of people fighting a lot of battles and they're not even doing what they think they're doing. So that's where the self-awareness comes in. If you're honest with yourself, then, you should be able to pick and choose your spots properly. Someone said, take it easy. Your arm will get sore if you keep patting yourself on the back. Let me see. No, it's not sore, but thanks for your thanks for your consideration. Knowing what kind of insanity coming tomorrow and 70 days is so eye-rolling when we know it's coming, exhausting, but really it's our country. I would be shocked if it went smoothly, but I guess nothing shocks me anymore. Anomaly, do you have a $1 bill to peek at the back of real quick? I do not have a $1 bill on me. Sorry. Let me see. No, I don't have my wallet on me. Someone said bunch of self-righteous winners in the chat. I don't know who you're referring to, but it's okay. It's one of those things too that like it's a difficult situation to navigate because on one hand, I think it's good to ignore most things. Like you don't need to like stop and talk about everything. But I try to think about it like, do I want to talk about it? Does it make sense? Is it going anywhere? But it's like if someone says something about you that's not right, and then you talk about yourself, then it's like, oh, you're patting yourself on the back. But it's like where, like where's the line of like just saying what you believe versus like, I don't know. It's an interesting line that you got to figure out. Eccentric is not self-righteous. They just so happen to coincide. Yeah, I hear you. Will the Dem machine steal the election? It's possible. I mean, that's another thing that I think too. Like at the end of the day, like if you looked at everything like a pyramid, there's certain people above the Democrats and the Republicans. Like we all know that. But there is internal fighting, like everybody doesn't get along as much as everybody thinks they do. In some cases, like they kind of do, and it's like you can see it. But also, like just because you're a puppet and they're a puppet, like you don't necessarily want them to get into power. You want to be in power. You want to be the guy. So in my view, it's complex. It's like, yes, there's a lot of everybody's doing the same thing for sure. And it's worth calling out. But it's not like everybody's just like, oh, they're all doing that. It's not always that way, in my view. Like it's like there is internal conflict. There is power struggles. The Democrats don't want the Republicans into power. Even though the same people, for the most part, control a lot of the same policy over the Democrats and the Republicans, the Democrats do not want to leave their powerful position. They want to win at all costs. So it's like, most people who won't vote won't say that, but that's true. Like it is. Do I know who Andrew Wilson is? Trump 2024? I don't. I mean, it's a common name, so it sounds familiar, but I don't think I do know. Am I following election betting sites, and how close do you think they are to being right? Yeah, I showed them at the beginning, but it's got Trump up like 55 to 45. It's got Republicans to win the Senate 80-20, which seems like as close to a lock as you can get. And then it's got the House even. I think that Trump, I see it that way as well. I think Trump is a favorite in the election. He's the favorite, but not by so much that it's like he can't win. He's the favorite, but it could be close. I think the Republicans will probably win the Senate, and I think the House is a coin flip, but the Democrats are the favorites. Like I see that as true. As far as like, it could fluctuate, etc. But I think that's it's about right. personally. That's just my interpretation. Like Trump's a favorite, not by much. Republicans are a huge favorite in the Senate, and then the House is a coin flip. Have I considered talking to Destiny? Have I considered it? Yes. Do I want to do it? No. I said this one time in a stream, and I'm going to repeat it because it's true. Destiny's like a girl that slept with everybody. Like he's debated everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like used goods at this point. And I don't even know the guy. I don't listen to him enough. I just see clips of him. It's like he's the Democrat that's over there like debating everybody, disagreeing, getting snarky, arguing. I don't, it's like the girl who slept with 5,000 dudes and slept with all your homies and slept with everybody. It's like, do you want to do it too? And it's like, not really, like, no, I don't wake up and be like, who I really want to talk to? That liberal over there. So I don't want to. I don't care how many views it gets. Like, it's like used goods at this point. So no, I don't find it interesting. He seems very subversive and, good with his talking points. But if the right situation crossed itself to do it, then I would, but I'm not. I would rather talk to other people, debate other people. I'd rather talk to like Jimmy Dore. I'd rather, like when it comes to left wingers, Jimmy Dore seems like a more honest conversation than Destiny. I've debated a lot of people. I've challenged myself and I like to, but what I've learned is like, as much as I do like to, win debates or at least like challenge myself, I'm not into subversive, like the subversive, sneaky people. It's just like the vibe is weird. I've debated people, came out of it feeling good. There's been people I debated and I came out of it just feeling weird, where I'm like, that was so subversive and like weird. And it's just like, it's not an experience I really feel like doing. So yeah, I don't know. You'd have to smoke an ounce of crack to get on his level. Well, that's not going to happen. So when you get owned by Sneeko in a debate, it's saying something. Are you talking about Destiny got owned by Sneeko? I've never seen it, but I mean, Sneeko's not a dumb guy, so I don't think like losing to him in a debate's bad. You might not agree with some things he says, or you might not like him or whatever, but I don't think Sneeko's dumb. I think he's a smart guy. So, I would think he'd be difficult to beat in a debate. Not saying it's impossible, but I don't look at it like, oh, I can't believe you lost to him. He's not a dumb kid at all. Do I think this election's too big to rig? No, I think it's less likely. I don't. I mean, I guess it depends what you mean. Like Democrats stealing it from Republicans, or the same people controlling both sides to a lot of extent. Depends what you mean by that. But I think no, anything's possible. After what they did during COVID, I would be hard pressed to be like, that can't happen. Bro, they brainwashed people into like locking the country down for like 2 years. So it's like, if they could do that, what can't they do? Thank you, Austin. I appreciate it. Am I Catholic? No. Now, I was raised Catholic to some extent, but it wasn't like super, like, I don't know. I stopped going to like class and stuff when I was like 10 or 11. So I kind of fell out of it, but I don't consider myself Catholic. Can I go over the Ron Paul stuff? I just saw a lot of people mentioning Ron Paul. Elon Musk brought up that he wants to talk to Ron Paul, or he started tweeting his name, and Ron Paul said, hey, I'd love to talk about this. Because if Trump wins, he might put Elon Musk in charge of government efficiency. And Elon Musk says he's going to cut a lot of the costs of the government, like a libertarian would. And he mentioned Ron Paul. So Ron Paul tweeted back and he said, if you really want to talk to me, Elon, let me know. So I believe if Trump wins, that Ron Paul will get a seat at the table. We'll see. It looks promising, though. Low-key says, Anomaly's voting for Mr. Warp Speed clown. And you're not voting, and either Kamala Harris, the psychopath demon's going to get in, or Donald Trump's going to get in. So your not vote, once again, folks, it's not doing anything. You're not blowing anybody's mind or changing the system. Kamala Harris, who sucks and is purposely imploding our country faster than pretty much anyone I've ever seen, is going to get in, or Mr. Warp Speed's going to get in. So you could not vote, pat yourself on the back, and the outcome's going to be exactly the same. The funniest part is in California, if I didn't vote tomorrow, like, it doesn't even matter. Like, the fact that people are going to jump off the bandwagon, and I don't even care, because it's just shows your character anyway. It's like, over that, like, me voting or not voting almost doesn't matter anyway, because it's like, unless my local vote comes down to one vote, it's like, it's there are really close races in my state, but at the same time, it's just like me voting for Trump in California, it literally doesn't mean anything. It's like a somewhat of a statement. If anything I could say, it's like it to me, it's a statement to the Democratic Party of this state, which is running this party into the state and has no competition. But if I left if I left Trump's name blank, now you like me again? Like that's how petty you are. It's the dumbest hill to just scream on. It's like if I was sitting here pretending like me voting is going to change the reality of society, then it's like, yeah, I'd understand why you're so mad. But it's like the people that get so caught up on this little topic, like I'm not trying to be rude, but it's like, I don't like you. I wouldn't want to hang out with you. I wouldn't want to talk with you. You're the type of person. I've been to political events. You talk to people, some people are like really pleasant to talk to, right? Like, and you're like, wow, I could talk to this person for an hour. They're so great. And then other people, they suck. You know what I'm saying? They talk your ear off. They're yelling at you. They're freaking out. And like, they think they're so smart. And you're just like, I fucking hate this person. So it's like, it's like some people are like, if you don't like me, it's okay. I probably wouldn't like you either. It just as a person, not even politically. It's like, some people think I think all these things, so I must be a good person. And those are the worst people because they're not considerate. I'm a very considerate person. If you're not considerate, you end up just sucking and everyone doesn't like you. They like people who are considerate, So it's like, I'll go to events. Most people are cool, but it's always like the most annoying person talking your ear off, yelling at you, freaking out. Like, they're like foaming at the mouth. And they think, of course, out of everybody there, they think they're the best. They think they're the most important. They think they're the realest. And it's like, they have no self-awareness of what role they're really playing. So it's like, I've seen enough to know who's who. It's just funny. Kamala will have 1 billion illegals here in 4 years. I see, and that's another thing too. Like libertarians, they think that their ideology works anywhere. I believe in demographics. I don't think other factors don't exist. I think there's beautiful things that come with every race and every religion, but I do think that demographics matter. And I think it makes a big difference when it comes to a lot of things. So it's like, there's some anarchists and libertarians like, I don't even care about race. It's like, I'm not saying you have to hate other people, but it's like, if you don't notice, then go to it. Like, I do notice race. If I go to like Tokyo, I notice right away, everybody's Japanese. What does that mean? They speak Japanese. All the signs are in a language I can't understand. On average, they're not as tall. They dress really cool. It's clean. The streets are spotless. Why? Because Japanese people don't trash their city. I love Japanese people. I'm not Japanese, but I think they're a cool culture, and I identify that they are a race that is very clean and safe. I like that. There's libertarians and anarchists that don't vote that are like, I don't even notice. It's like, I do. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we think differently. That's okay. But it's like, I don't think regardless of whether you vote or don't vote or think this or that, like if Kamala's going to let 15 million people in the country and Trump's going to let 2 million people in, to me, that makes a massive difference over the course of 60 years to change the culture and everything. You know what I'm saying? Where you send your kids to school, who your neighbors are. And I'm not saying other people are necessarily bad, but it's like the quality of people you're bringing in and also who you bring in changes the culture. The same way if they imported a bunch of white people and moved them to Tokyo and got rid, all the Japanese people had low birth rates, Tokyo would be a lot different. It'd probably be messier because Japanese people are like psychotically clean, which is cool. I like that. Personally, I like that. I'm not Japanese, but like I could be because I like to like have things clean a little bit too. But you get what I'm saying? It's like there's a lot of anarchists and libertarians that never talk about demographics because it's too edgy or they don't think of it or they're so in their own head about the non-consenting principle. I didn't consent, so I really matter more than I think I do. It's like, bro, yeah, go try that in the hood. It works in New Hampshire when it's a bunch of white dads arguing at a libertarian conference. It doesn't work when you bring it to a different culture that doesn't want to listen. Like you understand what I'm saying? It's like, I'm very libertarian in many ways and I don't like the government, but I'm not a full-blown libertarian because no offense, I think they're mostly like, they just argue and they're annoying and they take themselves way too seriously and it doesn't work in the way they think it does. Like they don't understand all the things I just talked about, in my view. I don't hassle everybody when they mention it, but it's like, be like, oh, you voted for the, it's like, there's a lot of things we disagree on. That's fine. But I don't think you're right. And you don't think I'm right. So here we are. Someone said, I love how you just explained this. I'm not a dumb guy. The people that are acting like I've thought about a lot of things. I've done this for 8 years. I've had hundreds of guests on. And when someone tells me something I've never heard, I'm like, That's a good point. I love to learn new things, but it's always, in my experience, the people that are the most humble, that are the most chill, that are the most respectful, that are the most courteous, that are the most considerate, these are usually the people that teach me the most. It's usually the most arrogant, the most angry, the most obnoxious, the most egotistical people that teach me the least because their sense of self-worth is so massively overinflated. I learned so much from so many people. One of my favorite people to talk to is G. Edward Griffin. He doesn't act like any of these people, and he knows a lot of stuff, and he's been warning a lot of things for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years. We don't agree on everything, but it's like that guy and other people like him have taught me so much, and they don't act that way. It's funny how that works. The smartest people, the most successful people, the people that have so much knowledge to give me about sports or business and stuff, they don't act the way that everyone else acts, yet they know so much more than me. And I know that I don't know as much as them in these things. The people that treat me like shit just so happen to be the people that aren't who they think they are. Like, they're not that impressive. They're not that smart. They're not reinventing the wheel. They don't have any information. They're getting mad about talking points I thought about 3 years ago and was intelligent and honest enough to realize that it's not as smart. It's not as smart as people think it is. Like, libertarianism is a great philosophy when it comes to taxes and everything, but I do believe demographics plays a role too. You can go to a liberal area that has certain demographics and it's going to be safer than other places. Why? Because there's certain statistics that are just obvious. It's like, why is crime so low in Tokyo? It's, Joe Rogan always says this, God bless the guy, but he says on his show all the time, he says, I had to move to LA to Austin because it was crowded in LA and it's less crowded in Austin. And, it's just too crowded. That's why it's bad in LA. It's an interesting point, but Tokyo's more crowded than LA. It's cleaner. It's safer. Why? Because the crowd is not the problem. Yeah, more people, more crime. Sure, like on average, but like per capita, it doesn't have to be that way. Japanese people don't trash the streets. Japanese people don't commit massive amounts of violent crime. You could argue about why or when or how or what, but that's just the reality, whether people say it's racist or not. It's a compliment to the Japanese people. When it comes to America, people don't want to look at that sort of stuff, but like, it's so obvious. Like, it's just, that's part of the equation also. So it's like political philosophy only goes so far. You know what I'm saying? It only goes as far as who's there, who's listening, who cares. You know what I'm saying? Like the nonviolent pact or whatever only matters if everyone agrees. It's like you go to Chaz or whatever, and it's like, hey, we're going to do this and that. Yeah, you're doing that until the gangster SoundCloud rapper comes in and he starts running it with a gun. like that's just kind of how it works. It's interesting, but yeah, I don't know. It's just like, it's fascinating. Like I like talking about this stuff. I like thinking about this stuff, but some people who only think so far, they think they've thought about it all. Someone said Anomaly is a machine. Well, thank you, Carrie. I appreciate you noticing who I really am. I'm just kidding. It's a machine joke for all my robots here, right? We got Tesla robots in the crowd. Anomaly, you are so cool and smart. Stop it, Tesla robots. Thank you so much. I appreciate the compliments. You are so welcome. Do you want to drive an electric vehicle? No, it's cool. I'll just stick to gas. I like gas better than electric. We must detonate now. Oh, okay. I'll drive the super truck. You got to watch out, folks. You never know. Someone said, you have a constitutional republic democracy that's been installed in the 1800s. People don't understand their rights or responsibility. I hear you. One of my friends, like outside of what we do, is Bryson Gray. Bryson Gray is not going to vote, right? He does not feel inspired to vote for Trump. He doesn't want to. He doesn't care. I'm voting. We're friends. We do music together. We talk. I've been to his house. We debate. We make songs. We respect each other. Even though we don't agree, we respect each other. If someone doesn't respect the fact that I vote, like imagine if I didn't want to be friends with Bryson and I'm like harassing him online because he doesn't want to vote. I get why he doesn't want to vote. I'm sure he gets why I want to vote. We don't agree, but it's okay. It's not that big of a deal. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he doesn't take his non-vote that seriously, and I don't take my vote that seriously. Like I just don't like people that aren't easy to work with like that. Like it's not that crazy of a topic. And to the people that think it's the most important topic, like I just disagree. I just disagree, so it's okay. You should listen to The Voids. Never heard of them. Someone said Bryson Gray is anti-white. I don't think that, but Anomaly looks like Temu Jesus. I mean, that's kind of funny. I'm not mad at that. I think that's a pretty good joke. You know, you've been annoying the whole time, but I'll give it to you. If you say something funny, you vote because you're a sheep. Oh, dude, yeah. Here, we'll play this game, brother. You don't vote, bro. Thank you so much, bro. You saved the country by not voting, dude. Thank you so much. You're such not a sheep, dude. Like when you don't go to the ballot box and then tomorrow or in a week, Trump or Kamala gets in, like it really matters so much more that you didn't vote versus you did vote because like one of them is going to get in anyway. And since it's a two-party system, like one of them's going to get in. But I don't know, dude. Like maybe if like everybody didn't vote in a hypothetical universe that like literally would never exist in the same way that communists think, then the power would shift away from the elites, which would never happen because they could just vote themselves in. But if we lived in an alternate universe where even they didn't vote, then Kamala would just stay into power anyway, and they'd still run the government. But good for you for not voting, buddy. You're totally not a sheep, bro. You're like a sheep herder. You're a legend, bro. You're like Neo in the Matrix, dude. You're like Morpheus. You're like Morpheus drinking a portion of potions and swimming in the ocean. Dude, you're dope, dude. You're the man, dude. That's awesome. You should start a channel, bro. You're sick, dude. You're the best. You're really smart. You really solved the two-party system, bro. You're crushing it. It's crying, screaming because you're not voting. It's like, oh no, they got it. Like, dude, thank you so much. Thank you for being so much smarter and better than everyone in our chat and everyone that votes. Thank you, dude. I appreciate you. Like, really, you should really do something with this. Anyway, if you don't vote, you got no right to complain. I mean, I don't agree with that, but sure, whatever, to each their own. Anyway, where were we? Someone said, get Julian Casablancas on the show. Is he the lead singer of The Strokes? I don't think he wants to be on my show. I don't know who he is. All right, I'm going to take off for now, folks. Thanks for listening. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. We're going to talk about tomorrow. I'm going to go live. I'm going to cover the election a little, have some fun with it. We'll see what happens. But in general, I'm going to probably not talk about this in circles. And here's what I want to say too, because I don't know, hopefully you guys enjoyed it, but like I like talking about this because I do think it's interesting to talk about in the right scenarios. But I just want to say this, like, especially for the people that actually like my show and they like me, I'm not going to talk about this very much more because I think it's such a boring topic to spend time on, but it makes sense now because the election's tomorrow. But like, I'm not going to spend the next 5 years debating people in the comment section about how much a vote matters because there's so many other topics that do actually matter that it seems like a massive waste of time. So this is all I'll ask. I'm sure people won't oblige, but it's like, if you disagree, just go watch someone that you agree with. No one wants you to talk in circles for 5 years. Like that's the most useless waste of time ever for everyone. So it's like, I'm not going to do that. And in general, it's like, I don't want that in my sphere because it's like a circle. It's like you're just running in a circle about one thing. I don't get it, but Julian Casablancas would love to come on. Is that the lead singer of a band wants to be on the show? If you know him and he likes me or something, he wants to come on, possibly, but it might be a couple months or something for me to like, there's a few things I'm remaking and so it's not out of the realm, but yeah. Thank you, John. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Caitlin. Someone said I missed Dark Anomaly. What is that? I don't know, but appreciate you. Thanks for watching. Check out dreamrare.com. I got my hats, I got my beanies, I got my shirt. Check out dreamrarelinks.com if you'd like. And also, if you haven't heard, go back. It's my last video. It's called 9mm. It's a new song I have. I think it's the best song I ever made. Super meaningful. A lot of dope lyrics in that. So if you like hip hop, check it out. If you don't, check it out. And if you like it, leave a comment. If you don't, you can leave a comment too. That's fine. And I appreciate it. Thank you. And also, I want to say this too, because I like to talk about things sometimes and people would disagree because I think it's fun to have certain conversations, but I see all the love, I see all the support, the amount of text messages, DMs I got from people that I really respect, people that I really think are good people, and also artists, other music artists that are very successful and very ethical. I got a lot of really amazing compliments and some people that I really respect and really trust and really appreciate. I see all the comments from everybody, every comment, everything. I don't want to just act like I only see people who disagree because I don't. So thank you guys so much. I'm super grateful. And I'll be back tomorrow for sure. It's going to be a big day. Should be fun. And Yes, sir. Get some sleep, guys. Enjoy yourself. And all I would say is don't stress out too much. At the end of the day, it is what it is. So you can control only so much. I wouldn't worry about it. I would just kind of take it as it comes. So we'll see. See you guys. I'm out. Hey, what's going on, my friends? Just a few ways to stay in touch and support if you'd like to. The first way is dreamrare.com. We have blue beanies, black beanies, pink hats, other colored hats, freedom versus tyranny shirts, stay blessed long sleeve, God is great long sleeve, and lots of more cool items coming soon. Dreamrare.com. Check out the shop to support. Everything's made in the United States. Handpicked by me. Patreon.com/raretalk for $5 a month. You can help support me, support the show. If you haven't noticed, unlike other channels, I don't work with very many sponsors, sometimes none at all. And part of the way I'm able to do that is with the dreamrare.com shop and patreon.com/raretalk. So thank you guys for keeping the show